Hello to 82 friends, it's Miss Rodriguez. Today we are going to read How to Be a Viking by Cressida Cowell. I'm not sure if this is the right hat for it, but we're going to try it anyway. So, long ago, in a fierce and frosty land, there lived a small and lonely Viking, and his name was Hiccup. Hiccup's a really cute name. I like that a lot. Vikings were enormous, roaring burglars with bristling mustaches who sailed all over the world and took whatever they wanted. Hiccup was tiny and thoughtful and polite. The other Viking children wouldn't let him join in their rough Viking games. Hiccup was frightened of spiders, he was frightened of thunder, and he was frightened of sudden, loud noises. But most of all, he was frightened of going to sea for the very first time next Tuesday. Hiccup wasn't sure he was a Viking at all. Oh no, it doesn't feel good when we don't feel like we fit in. Hiccup's father was Stoic the Vast. Wherever Stoic walked, the ground trembled, flowers wilted, and bunnies fainted. He hadn't brushed his beard in 30 years. Only girlies brush their beards, boomed Stoic the Vast. Girlies don't have beards, Hiccup pointed out. But no one listened to him. And when Hiccup told his father he was frightened of going to sea, Stoic laughed his enormous Viking laugh until salty tears ran down to his enormous hairy feet. You can't be frightened, little Hiccup. Vikings don't get frightened. And he sang the Viking song. Oh boy, I don't know if this is going to be helpful. I've blackened the 1,000 eyes of 1,000 angry gales. Watch me knock the cockles off the biggest, bluest whales. I've given a walrus nightmares who thought that they were strong. I marooned a huge typhoon on an island off Hong Kong. Oh, ancient prawny greenness, the never-ending sea. Mess with squirmy jellyfish, but do not mess with me. Kind of liked it, but it does sound like a tough song. He patted Hiccup on the head and went to do 300 push-ups before breakfast. Oh, thought Hiccup, it all sounds very dangerous. So Hiccup went to see the oldest Viking of all, old Wrinkly himself, whose barnacled beard fell down to his toes. Your saltiness, he whispered, for Hiccup had beautiful manners. Do Vikings ever get frightened? Little grandson, wheezed old Wrinkly. His breath was like being kissed by a mackerel. I've been wondering about the answer to that question myself. The sea is full of trials and terrors, but it's also full of marvels and miracles. Go to sea, and you can tell me if Vikings ever get frightened. I think he's going to find out. So, at 8:45 on a breezy Tuesday, Hiccup went to sea for the very first time. Oh, it's exciting. And everyone's waving goodbye. See you soon. At 9:30, Hiccup was wishing he hadn't eaten those 2 smallish haddock for breakfast. At 9:45, he was feeling very peculiar indeed. And at 10:30, he wished he was dead. I feel seasick, he said to his father. Vikings don't get seasick, said Stoic the Vast. Oh, we've all had tummy troubles before. Ugh. But this one was all over Stoic's feet. Hiccup got sicker and sicker, and the storm got wilder and wilder. Stoic the Vast sang the Viking song at the storm, but the storm took no notice. A great wave came up and soaked him. One mighty wave picked up that whole Viking ship as if it were a matchstick and threw it 50 miles to the south. And one mighty blast from the gale picked up the whole Viking ship as if it were a piece of seaweed and threw it 50 miles to the west. And a terrible black wind went shrieking all over the lonely ocean and turned that Viking ship upside down and inside out and went shivering down every Viking spine. Ooh. Looks like rough waters to me. We're lost, said Stoic the not-so-vast after all. And a funny thing happened. His face began to turn a greenish hue, and he thought of the 37 largest haddock he had had before breakfast. And his stomach began to heave, and then all the Vikings turned pea-green in color, and their stomachs heaved with an almighty rush. They ran to the side. Oh, no. Well, well, said Hiccup, it appears that Vikings do get seasick. And immediately he began to feel better. This direction, shouted Hiccup. But the Vikings were too busy being seasick to steer the boat, so Hiccup began to take charge, and a funny thing happened. The more he steered, the better he felt. As he headed for home, that stormy wind filled the sails, and the boat skimmed over the ocean at 1,000 miles an hour. Out of the depths of the sea came shoals of flying fish, and leaping dolphins, and strange whales with horns like unicorns. There were eels that lit up like light bulbs, and lame slings with enormous eyes that no one had ever seen before, all following Hiccup the Viking as he steered that ship at a tremendous speed home. Who's driving that ship now? Nice breezy day, hummed Hiccup as he steered into the harbor. So tell me, said Old Wrinkly, his old seashell eyes might have been twinkling, do Vikings ever get frightened? Sometimes they do, said Stoic the Vast. But they'll get over it, said Hiccup the Viking, and that's what makes them so brave. Vikings sometimes get seasick. The end. So being brave is not about never feeling scared. It's about having the courage to try and keep trying, just like you try and keep trying every single day. So I want you to try and keep trying, being kind, doing your best, and have fun, and take care of your grown-ups too. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Mwah.